Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 41 weeks, and today we have a weird one. I'm not going to say it's a good one, I'm just going to say it is a weird one, but extremely interesting. Today we are talking about the Atlantic hagfish. Atlantic hagfish, or scientific name Myxine glutinosa. It is part of the family Myxinidae. Myxinidae is the family of hagfish. These are also known as slime eels. Many people may have heard that name from them. We'll get into reason why they're called those, but yeah. Atlantic hagfish is found in the Eastern Atlantic Ocean primarily, goes up into the North Sea, very prevalent around Norway, but it is also found on the coast of the US. I just believe it's not found in as great as numbers, but essentially the entire Atlantic Ocean. These can grow up to about 2.5 feet, which is about 0.76 meters, so 3/4 of a meter. Seems to be a relatively common size for these. They don't really have a lot of coloration. They can go from a kind of brownish gray to a pinkish gray to pink, very wide ranging. They do have a partial skull, but they don't have any vertebra. They have a notochord, which is a really slick, very flexible backbone. But they don't really have any vertebra. Well, there's a lot of debate going on about that, but essentially they only have a notochord. As you can tell from the pictures, they kind of have an eel-like body, but not really. They're more of a tube. As someone just recently said in my stream, think more pool noodle than slithering noodle. It is definitely more of a pool noodle sort of thing. They also have very, very loose skin. And how loose, you may ask? Well, the skin is only attached on the back of the body. It's not really attached to the rest. It's really hard to describe. I highly encourage you to check this fish out and do your extra research, because there's just no way I can get all of the interesting facts. But their skin is incredibly loose, in the fact that they could almost add 40% to their internal organs and internal structures and still not completely stretch out that skin, so it's extremely loose skin. They do not have eyes, but they do have light sensing organs, so think rudimentary eyes. There is some debate on whether or not they evolved to have eyes long ago during the dinosaur times and then reverted back. It's just a really awkward suggestion. These do not have jaws. They own no jaws whatsoever. They only have a tongue that has teeth on it, basically. So, and their tongue, this is actually not the mouth, that's actually the nostril, I believe. The tongue is down in this sort of wrinkled part right here, and I believe, and you can see right here, it's got these 6 barbels. I'm not going to say that this isn't the mouth. It's really hard to find the anatomy, but I think this is the nostril and this is the nose. But it's got these very large, kind of thick barbels surrounding the mouth and nostrils. These are a scavenger, so these don't actively hunt. I say that, but they have been known to take out some smaller invertebrates, but these are primarily scavengers in that they are eating on dead animals, right, like this. Now, talking about remember what we called them, slime eel. Slime eels the hagfish have 88 to 102 mucus pores running down their body. Then I want you to really listen to this one. A single hagfish, one of these, one of these hagfish can produce enough slime to fill a milk jug quite easily. And in fact, most people say that they produce enough slime to fill a 5-gallon bucket in seconds. And how they actually do this is quite remarkable. The slime is actually reinforced with tiny fibers. It's not your traditional slime per se. It looks just like water, and apparently you don't notice it until you dip it in, and it's still not sticky. It feels apparently very soft. As I said, the slime is reinforced with tiny protein fibers that will actually unroll, and that's actually what helps the slime kind of stick to anything. Those fibers, protein fibers, actually make the slime really strong and very difficult to remove. Not only from other people, from your hands or anything, makes it very difficult to remove it from there. It also makes it very difficult for the hagfish on the slime. But they have extremely flexible bodies. You can see right here, this is not a hagfish in distress. Well, it is in distress, but it can tie itself into a knot. And they do this very often. They literally have, since they don't really have a backbone or anything, they can tie themselves into literal knots without hurting themselves. And they do this on purpose, actually. What they'll do is they'll actually use the knots to wipe the excess slime off its body. It's like when you're taking a rope and you're trying to squeeze the water out of it. You run your hand down it, or you're trying to clean a rope or anything. You run your fingers tight down it. That's essentially what it's doing to that slime. It's literally scraping the slime off of its body. And it's actually very important that they do this because they'll actually suffocate themselves from the amount of slime if they don't remove it. And I really want you to think about, remember what I was talking about, the flexible bodies, loose skin, and the slime. These are all very important factors to deter predators. It makes it very, very hard for the predators to bite these fish. Apparently, there's very, very much often of where a predator will bite a hagfish, and literally because their skin is so loose and there's so much extra movement inside of their body, their organs just kind of shifted to the side and they do okay. And then the hagfish can produce so much slime so fast that it will actually clog the gills of the fish, the predator, and suffocate them. There's actually evidence where the slime is so sticky and so tough that it will actually clog the gill slits of any predator and cause the predator to completely suffocate. Alright, so now, as I mentioned earlier, these are scavengers. You can see here, this is a hagfish feeding on a cod, I believe. Because these don't have jaws, they obviously cannot bite. What they'll do is they'll sort of rasp away at the carcasses with that tongue that has those toothy cartilage, that, tooth structures sort of thing. Fun fact, they will actually tie themselves in a knot to help them eat as well. So when they're trying to remove the excess slime, they'll tie themselves in a knot close to the head and then essentially pull the knot out towards the tail. If they're trying to eat, they'll reverse it. They'll tie the knot in more at the tail and keep pulling themselves back. So they'll actually be grabbing on, using their tooth to be taking a bite out of the fish. And they'll use that knot to pull their head off of the fish and pull away some of a mouthful of food. However, they can also eat by simply sitting inside of a corpse, and that's actually what normally happens. If there's a big corpse like a dolphin or a whale, they'll drill the hole basically into the middle of the corpse and just kind of sit there and absorb the nutrients directly through the skin and gills. The interesting thing is it's actually much more efficient for them to absorb the nutrients through their skin than their own intestines. These things, I cannot describe how weird this fish is. And in fact, not even sure this is a fish. No one seems to really agree on what is this a fish? Is this not a fish? Is this this? Is this that? It's kind of its own thing. Originally, it was thought that they were a very ancient fish because hagfish have been around for so long. However, it almost seems like they evolved because there are fossil records of hagfish with very complex eyes instead of rudimentary eyes. And then they sort of devolved back, and they're kind of just said, you know, hey, we're just going to just go back and be completely plain. It's easier. I don't know. These things are extremely weird. The simple fact that their own intestines can't absorb nutrients from food as well as their skin does it's just a very odd. So now, finally, the fun fact that we are going to end the video on. The fun fact. In 1982, the hagfish was actually voted to be the national fish of Norway. In 1982, there was a poll done, and the hagfish got 4,000 votes to make this the national fish of Norway. However, a jury decided that the vote was most likely rigged, so they overturned the vote. And it actually went back to the second place, which is Atlantic cod. So, there you go. Just a little fun fact. Norway almost had the hagfish as their and yes, you can buy these fish. I think these are about $50. I don't know if you can buy them live or if they're dead, because they are actually used as a food fish. Don't ask me why, but they are actually, especially some of your Pacific hagfish. I believe it's very popular in China, and there's actually one documented accident. A tanker truck was hauling a load of hagfish down the highway, and it had a wreck, and it dumped all the hagfish onto the ground. And the pictures of the slime that was just produced all over the road in the car is just astronomical. This is a weird fish, guys. I would highly encourage you to check this out. Do your own research. Just type in Atlantic hagfish, or just type in hagfish, and just scroll down and see all the interesting things about this. That's really hard to go into. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you do. I'd really appreciate it. I hope to see you again. Once again, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved one, and